Hello and welcome again to Judy and Friends. And our team is here. And I'd like you to meet them again. It's Kathy, the only Kathy Lee in the world. The first Kathy Lee. And we have Gary Williams, the man about town, and Jerome Roberts, the man of the Philly Gate, as they like to call him, and he likes it himself. But we're happy to be here. And hi, gang. How you doing?
Hello.
Hey, Miss Trudy.
Great.
How are you?
I hope everyone is well, and I hope everyone has had their shots. Of course, I know there's been some discussion about who's going to get it or if you're going to get it, what not to do, and so forth. But I'm in. I've had my two. Anyone else in or still thinking about it?
I've had my two.
Come on, Gary.
What do you want me to do? I'm not sick.
Okay, Kathy Lee, how you feeling this week?
I feel fantastic. I feel wonderful.
Without the shots?
I haven't had my shot yet, no. I'm
Okay.
online. My appointment's coming up. My appointment is scheduled, as a matter of fact.
Well, and Gary, I know you're still going back and forth about the same issue, right?
Oh yeah, because a lot of stuff is coming out and then a lot of stuff is coming out that they're not talking about, and then there's a lot of stuff that you got to find out. And I don't like the idea that you have to find out about stuff. There should be more partial on both sides to force you to take the shot, and also the shot, what effects have been happening that are actually coming out, and more, excuse me, things are coming out more and more. So, like my grandmother used to say, what don't come out Monday's wash, comes out on Tuesday's dry.
Well, one thing for sure, it's still going on. It looks like it's going to be an issue for a long time to come. So we better get used to being protected and protecting others. So what about wearing your mask, folks?
Yeah, I wear my mask.
Yeah, I wear my mask. I'm
Kathy?
amongst people. I got the mask.
hmm
Oh, I believe in walking with wisdom and ease and joy. So yes, I do. And my
Yeah.
face shield.
hmm
And I'm wearing mine reluctantly. I can't stand them. My lipstick gets all on the inside. And sometimes I can't breathe. So, but I try to wear them all the time.
Yeah.
And if not for myself, at least for others I come in contact with.
That's
They
the
have
main
some
thing.
good questions raised.
That's the main reason.
And
Yeah. Yeah, interesting though about wearing a mask that they tell you after you take your shots that you still can get COVID.
You can. It's true.
Yeah,
Correct.
so that's interesting. And then they're trying to talk people into taking their masks off. What are they going to be wearing? So that this way, if
So I
they
haven't
didn't
seen
have it,
that. I haven't seen that.
yeah, they said that. Yeah, they presented it that they would. The governor of was it Jersey said he's going to get around to maybe people won't have to wear their masks because a lot of people don't want to wear their masks anyhow. I've seen people walking down the street without the mask on,
well, they're planning
especially a lot of young people.
Yeah,
I was on the Las Vegas Strip in the last month, and 85% of the people were wearing masks on the Las Vegas Strip, and the strip was full of people.
Wow, I'm surprised. I'm surprised at that one because I thought those were people who go there and take a chance on anything and would
About
probably not wear.
85% were wearing masks.
Yeah,
That's
interesting. Interesting. Also, the people that ran up into the Capitol, they didn't have no masks. How many of them got sick? You know, how many of them got sick? They ain't talking about it. Nobody got sick. They all wasn't wearing masks. They stormed the Capitol. They was close up together like crazy. It was slobbing in each other's faces.
Yeah.
What happened? What happened?
Well, the operative word is we do not know.
Yeah. And they would have said it if they know, they would have said it. They didn't say nothing.
Well, when in doubt,
they're hiding. They're hiding.
The jury's still out with that one, huh?
I don't know. The jury.
Thousands of people. Thousands.
I don't know if the jury is out. Right now, they were focusing on the assault on the Capitol and our democracy. I don't know if they were looking at the COVID and whether or not it was a super spreader. So
they didn't say nothing about it.
We don't know, Gary.
Yeah, check this out. In Washington Square Park, they had a concert the other day because the guy was allowed to permit. And it was I forget what kind of concert they called it. It must have been like one of them acid rock concerts. And if you go in and look at it on the video, you see nobody had masks. It was thousands of people in Tompkins Square Park in New York City just the other day.
Well,
and they talked about how did they get to permit and this and that and the other, but they didn't make a big deal about it. Just like they didn't make a big deal about the people storming the Capitol. They didn't make a big deal about them not wearing masks. They made a deal about how they stormed the Capitol, but they didn't talk about COVID or anything. It's just like, you leave stuff out. You can't leave stuff out in this situation. People's lives are at stake. You got to give it all out.
Okay, let's do it this way. This is not going to end just from my talking about it, but it does intimidate you to at least keep alert and do what you think is best. I know when I go to the store and want to have a hamburger, I take off my mask and eat the hamburger. And I think everyone has to do that. So we'll leave that one because it's an oncoming and a keep going subject. We hope we can find the answers to all of that. But we have something else coming up. And I'm going to let Jerome take over with that, if you don't mind, in starting our discussion on infrastructure. Because we have a new cabinet members for that, and things are going to be happening. Maybe not what we think is the right thing, but we certainly have opinions.
Thank you, Ms. Trudy. One of the issues that we're facing right now is the president, Mr. Biden, is trying to get a $2.29 trillion bill, which is about 10% of the GDP of the country, through Congress right now. And some of the Republicans are pushing back on his quote unquote infrastructure plan. But let's start with the Merriam-Webster definition of infrastructure. It has three, but I just want to deal with one. The system of public works of a country, state, or region. Also, the resources, such as personnel, buildings, or equipment required for an activity. Now, Biden's 2.29, almost $2.3 trillion plan, and has a lot of money in it for quote unquote personnel, which we would call social issues. And right now, the Republicans are trying to get it out. I don't know how this is going to turn out, but you need to be aware of it.
Kathy?
I totally agree that it depends on your definition or how you read the definition. It's the same thing with the Constitution. How is it interpreted? But Biden's plan is basically set to offset, contains investments in transportation, housing, and climate policies. And a lot of it is not, actually it's kind of, Trump never really did much of anything. He did some things, but not much. Trump's plan was basically looking to bring in private investments and help certain folks. But with Biden's plan, if you want to bring COVID into this conversation, I mean, it deals with a lot of things that would benefit Philadelphia. For example, Philadelphia needs more work in transportation. It needs modernizing roads and highways and bridges, road safety. Public transportation is $85 billion in that. He has $80 billion for Amtrak. We have a 30th Street station and freight rail services. He wants to bring in electric vehicles. We know about environmental pollution within our own communities. He wants buildings, $25 billion for new projects. He's especially dealing with vulnerable areas, and there are a lot of vulnerable areas within the city of Philadelphia, especially in the areas of housing and education. So they want to call them social issues, but they're really not social issues. If you piggybacking on Jerome's definition, on his definition, you need the resources for the activities. So if you need broadband or internet, and you need housing, education, and you need clean water, and you need research and development, all of that has to do with the pandemic has shown what needs to be done in this country even more so. I'm going to turn it over to Gary.
Yeah, if President Biden is writing all of that into the infrastructure bill, then my thing is these Republicans that have children, they don't even care about their own kids because it's to help society as a whole. So they're just playing mean spirited people to be able to hold back on something like a filibuster for something that's going to benefit even their own children. Where's their philosophy?
But
You know,
Gary and
one of
Jerome, a
the
lot of it has to do with what's in Biden's bill. And I don't mean to cut you off, Jerome, but I know I know you already know this, and Gary knows this. It's the wording. It's what he wants to do with that money, like minority serving institutions. He wants to give a lot of money to historical Black colleges. He wants to give money to tribal people on tribal lands. In other words, a lot of it is focused on communities that have always been excluded from receiving the benefits of any federal funding. But a lot of that's our fault when we don't fill out the census because we're losing a seat in Pennsylvania. We're losing representation. So when you don't vote, you also lose representation to get the things that you need. And Philadelphia needs safe playgrounds. We're dealing with gun violence. We're dealing with drug violence. All of these things that Gary is very passionate about.
Well, I went for a walk not too long ago through Locust Street. Now, I can remember a year ago or a year and a half ago, walking through Locust Street, sitting down on a bench. I went through there and I couldn't even pause, much less sit down, for all of the new buildings going up in just one area between two streets. And it dawned on me there was no place, no playground, no place for old people to sit and enjoy the outdoors, no place for the kids to play. And if you put your head out the window, you're going to bump into some concrete. That's what most people think of as being a part of the infrastructure or the whole infrastructure. But there's more to that. There's more human beings. There's more living to infrastructure and how we're going to be able to get along with the one we're going to put our head out the window and bump our head to.
Yeah.
Ms. Trudy, you're right. Yeah. And one of the lines in Biden's bill, he has a line in there for workforce education and development to help workers keep pace with the digital times. And that is $100 billion. That's $100 billion in the plan. And that's directing money towards social issues. And that's $100 billion right there that the Republicans are trying to get out of the bill.
But you know what, Jerome? If we stop calling it a social issue, let's not go into their culture war. Let's stick with let's just stick with calling it infrastructure, because he also has about $12 billion for workers facing some of the greatest challenges, even evidence-based community violence prevention programs. And that's near and dear to Gary's heart. So what we need to be doing in Philadelphia is really making sure that regardless of whether they're Republicans or not, and whoever represents us at the state, local, and federal levels, we need to be calling them out and we need to be contacting them and marching down on their offices. That's what we really need to be doing. And we need worker protection, you need apprenticeships, and that's the stuff they don't want. They want to do the infrastructure, but only if it benefits certain populations. And what Biden's bill is doing is in being more inclusive. And Philadelphia needs all of this. We need everything that's in his infrastructure.
And you have to keep in mind that Trump's tax deduction to the rich caused much of the rift that's going on right now. I mean, they took out almost $1 trillion out of tax money that went to the rich people and the corporations.
Yeah,
that's exactly correct.
Well, I that's interesting because now Biden's trying to reverse all of those things, and he's trying to put a little bit in at a time. And it appears that
they will fight him.
Yeah, it appears that might only be the way that he can get it done, a little bit at a time. Because I heard today they were trying to take it from $10 to $15 a wage increase. I heard it on the radio. So I don't know what's going to happen.
Not to cut you off, but when you say $15 an hour to the increase, to jump into that, everyone says great. But somebody has to pay that $15. Somebody has to pay that extra money that's going in one direction. So it all has to be worked out with very thoughtful people. And we have to see plans ahead of time. And maybe this 10-year thing about voting for infrastructure or voting for the separate money that we have to have. Maybe that should be more often. Maybe we need people.
Trudy, I don't mean to cut you off, but they're giving 10-year tax abatement for new people moving into the city, gentrifying the area. That they're giving 10-year tax abatements. They are basically, when they talk about rebuilding communities, all you have to do is look around this city. When they start changing the names of where you live, they start changing the people. And there are a whole lot of things just going on. And this is a predominantly Democratic city. The last time I looked, the mayor and most of the council people kind of looked like us. So where are they in this fight? Where are the people that we elected and put in office? What exactly are they doing to make sure that they are identifying the infrastructure needs that they need and making sure that the people that we sent down to Washington and to the state are looking out for the interests of the people in this community and all of the communities? Because if you go through Southwest Philadelphia, and I taught around, Turner Middle School, and I was around Tilden and all that, you don't even recognize it. Just like I went to Camden, and the houses that my friends lived in, there's nothing but vacant land now. So who's developing in that, and who are they developing it for? And who's going to use that? So now people are complaining that they're moving low-income people into so-called ritzy neighborhoods. Well, why not? That's how the neighborhoods were when I was growing up. We had a doctor next door and a maid around the corner. I don't know about a maid, but you know what I'm trying to say. People lived, African Americans, our early communities, it was a very diversified community, and that's what made our community stronger. When we started separating and moving all away from everything else, that's when communities really began to crumble. So we need to go back to building infrastructure within our own African American communities and do outreach with other communities like Hispanic community and just everyone really basically to uplift the quality of life within the city. You can't drink the water out of Turner Middle School because
it's Kathy, you're saying we need to put some of ourselves into what's going on in our own neighborhoods.
That's the only way. The only way, because one older person older than me told me a long time ago, when they start digging up your pipes and digging up your sewage systems and fixing it and repairing, it's not for you. And that's very true, because everywhere I looked where they were digging up, another group of people came into that same community that the people were there for 30 and 40 years and they didn't do it. It's so weird. And I find it because the people, like you state, they need to fight for themselves. But you're right. You're right, Captain Lee, because if you don't, why is it that somebody can move into your neighborhood and don't have to lift up the phone to call anybody and they automatically get service?
Well, but you have to look at one thing I've learned in Philadelphia and just in general in life, when they looked at what we used to call the black bottom, and if you look at that movie Concrete Cowboys and stuff, they already planned 40, 50 years ahead. We don't plan that far ahead as a people.
Tomorrow, we hardly get to.
Because we're so focused on surviving and not living. It's time for us to live. And the way to do that is if you don't fill out that census, we're losing representation. I guarantee you those Republicans, just like in Texas, are going to make sure it is a Democratic seat that is lost. And they're going to gerrymander everything because no one wanted to fill out the census. But what difference does it make if you vote if you don't make sure you get your federal dollars and keep your representation or increase the representation? Because they keep cramming us into these little things. We have 2 congressmen. They keep cramming us all in here. But the state of Pennsylvania, look how large it is. So if you got 90 counties that are all Republican and 2 that are Democrat, who has more power at the state, down at the state? Who's going to bring in that independent, let's go check these votes just to make sure, what's a cyber ninja? Come on now, let's fall back and breathe easy on all of this crap.
And the other thing is that we are so distracted. There's so many distractions that people don't even know whether they're coming or going. And that's not just African American people either. The whole society is basically distracted while these guys continue to do stuff that's going to be beneficial to nobody, really.
Oh, no, to the wealthy, and to the private, investors, to the private investors. That's
You
why
know,
Jerome keeps talking about them social issues, Jerome. That's why I say nix the social issues. Don't talk about cultural wars. That's their fighting ground. And that's what they use to control their own population of people, to keep them from seeing that when we all lift up, we all do better.
Right.
Together.
Yeah.
Jerome, you were trying to say something?
well, no, what I was going to say in agreement with Kathy Lee was that the real issues with this bill are at the state level, because I think it's 32 states are run by Republican legislatures. And believe you me, those people in Harrisburg are right now sitting around trying to get rid of, since the state is losing a rep, they're trying to get rid of one in this area, because we have 3 or 4 in this area and they're trying to get rid of one.
Yeah.
So if you don't vote, and if you don't participate in the census, it's coming down on you.
Right.
Yeah, but see, that's a long period of time that if you miss that one vote, you don't have another one for that same subject for 10 years. That seems to be an item that we have to correct right there. That's too far of a span.
Well, that goes back to the people being informed, which I understand what Kathy Lee was saying. You shouldn't wait for the politicians to come to you and inform you. But then how do you empower the people to inform themselves? It has to start some particular place, because they don't have the wherewithal or the know-it-all to know what's going on. So how do you do that? It probably takes
like that kind of reaction.
Yeah, it probably takes some sort of money to do it. So
But
so
you watch Trudy Haynes and Friends. That's one suggestion. But who doesn't want $100 billion for upgrading and building public schools? Who doesn't want $400 billion towards community care for elderly and disabled? Who doesn't want to improve wages and benefits and unionization for workers in any industry? Who doesn't want that? I'm sure if you go out there to all the Trump voters and say, do you want a community college infrastructure, $12 billion so your kid could go? Do you want help with sending your kid to college? They're not going to say no. Only people going to say no are the rich people that got the tax breaks and the political people that want to maintain the illusion of power over people.
So also I want to know one thing. What about the homeless people? I mean, it's crazy.
Oh, that's in there. He's having it. But climate control, climate change is another big issue. And Trump didn't want any of that. He opened up all kinds of federal lands. We just want you to go ahead and got to destroy the environment to make the people that, he wanted UPS. Let's get out of here with all of this nonsense. Yeah. It's all about the rich people maintaining and holding their power.
Yeah. And that's what it's going to be. The rich people maintaining their power. And believe me, if you are part of even the 1 or 2%, you don't see a lot of the social issues that we're talking about now. You don't even come in contact with it in your life.
They don't care about that.
So they don't care.
No, because money's involved. Money is the money, like Kathy Lee says, is the rich, and they have the money. And since money speaks power, that's what they use. And so they give you $1,400, they give you $600, they give you $1,200, and you think you got some money. You go spend it back into the system, and you're back in the same place you was before you got the money.
Yep.
Do any of you have a suggestion how we can stimulate the people themselves, especially those in our own neighborhoods, to react to these things?
Well, local medias that are community papers is one way probably to get it out there to people that do read it. Mostly, I would say the people that are seniors or about to become seniors. As far as young people, they're on the Instagram and they're on the Facebook and stuff like that. So you have to use all the platforms to just put it out there like we're doing right now. And I'm just saying.
What do you think, school teacher, former?
I think they should put civics education back in curriculums of schools. I believe that it should be an all-out assault from the churches, which is basically the foundation of our political bases, and any other religious institutions that you belong to. I really think that a more informed, more seminars, just like Gary said, use every social platform that is available out there to educate people.
And I think we should all be tuning in for Trudy and Friends. We'll see you next time.
Our task for today was to, this was your topic, infrastructure. It wasn't mine. It was your topic.
It wasn't
It
mine.
was, it was your suggestion, Gary. It was.
It wasn't.
Hello?
It wasn't. I wanted to talk
Hello?
about something else.
Hello.
Yes, Trudy.
We talked about it. We said that would be a good one to start with. We're not trying to finish it all today. I have to get someone in here. I didn't get the answer yet. We're going to have some people to come in who are working on this. We're going to have a vote on May 18th. So this is going to be an ongoing subject. We don't have to decide the word today.
That's
We're just
correct.
talking about it.
Okay. Okay.
And that doesn't have to be our whole thing today. Ooh.
Okay.
Because Gary, you're supposed to focus.
I'll give it a try. I'll give it a try from what you guys are saying, but my point is that still we don't know what's going to happen, what's going to be the outcome.
We don't know, but that doesn't mean that we can't talk about it. Everyone is.
Not everyone, but people are. But not everyone. Some people not even concerned about it.
That's why we're talking about it, to make them concerned.
Okay, good. So we're raising the topic. Okay.
We're raising the concern.
Okay.
Your federal dollars at work.
Okay.
And it doesn't have to be decided today. It can't be.
Oh, what is that? Oh.
That's Shorty tuning me in or out, as the case may be. Anyway,
okay.
It's a wonderful month going into the next month. And we got plenty of sunshine too. What time is it? I don't.
10:53.
Okay, so go ahead. You can still talk about it.
Oh, what is that beeping?
That's why.
Setting the clock.
What?
Setting the clock so Miss Trudy can see what time it is. The countdown.
You set it away? That's really killing my ear.
It is kind of loud, huh?
Do I need my headset?
Yeah, it is.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Hello, and welcome to I'm Just Saying, and the Trudy Friends are here today with us. Of course, our team is. Oh,
Cut. The name of the show is Trudy and Friends. All right, let's start over.
Sorry
All right.
about that.
We'll just count down. 5,
Count it down.
4, 3, 2,